Hi, I'm Mirabelle. Want to hear something scary? I'm just kidding, of course, but today we are going to be covering some spooky content. More specifically, I'm going to combine my love for creepypasta and my generally happy, colorful style to turn this into this. Let's get started. So, starting off with a newer creepypasta and the initial inspiration for this video, we have Siren Head. Siren Head is a very, very tall and emaciated creature, made of mummified flesh that's fused with 2 or more sirens atop its head. These sirens can play all sorts of weird sounds, such as strange music, alarms, and most chillingly, human voices. Siren Head often lurks in forests where it can blend in, snatching up unwitting passers-by. Nobody knows what happens to the victims, but it is presumed that Siren Head eats them, using the mouths found on the inside of its sirens. Knowing this information, I was originally going to make Siren Head a police officer so that he could use his broadcasts to, help people or, catch criminals or, intercept 911 calls. He could do a number of things with that. But then I realized that, he normally lives in, forests and rural areas. So I thought, why don't we make him a camp counselor? And I figured this would work a lot better. One, because he's in a forest, and, summer camps are generally in forests, and, he's kind of in his element. And the other thing is because that makes his tallness not seem as scary, because it's his job to take care of the campers, right, and to look out for them. So instead of him creeping up on you, it would feel like he's kind of watching over them instead, Another thing I did that I thought would be kind of a funny concept is that I gave his heads different personalities. So, you know how the cop in the Lego movie has 2 different personalities, but they can switch around and they're always arguing? I thought it would be kind of funny if I did that with Siren Head too. So one of the heads is very strict and cranky, and he wants to keep everyone safe, but he's kind of overbearing. And the other one's just a free spirit, kind of a hippie. He's in tune with nature and all that. And yeah, I just thought that would be a funny concept. Debated on giving them eyes, but I decided to get rid of that later because at that point he didn't quite look like Siren Head with the eyes. So I know my goal is to make it cute, but I still want it to resemble the original character, so I did that. So just as some final touches, I gave them the camp flag. It's kind of just tied around the pole in the middle of their heads, I guess. And I also gave their sirens different face paint. Well, it's not face paint, but you get what I mean. I gave them different paints so that you could kind of tell the heads apart, because they kind of look identical without it. So that was Siren Head. He's actually my favorite out of the three, but you guys can let me know which ones are your favorites in the comments. I just like the way I took the abilities. Like, I think I kind of repurposed them in some really cool ways. And I am very proud of the good cop, bad cop idea. I really like that dynamic. I think it's pretty cute. So I think overall I was pretty successful with this one, but you guys can let me know. Now, speaking of long, slender boys, we move on to possibly the most famous CreepyPasta character ever. You know him, I know him, it's Slenderman. Now, we all know Slenderman, probably, and his story widely differs depending on who you ask. He has a movie, he has a game, he has a mansion, for some reason. And to be honest, my work is kind of cut out for me, because no one can take the scariness out of Slenderman more than the internet already has. But all jokes aside, Slenderman's a pretty scary character, especially considering these two pictures that came out at the time of his release. Now, in case this is the first video you've ever watched on the internet and you don't know who Slenderman is, first of all, welcome, and second of all, let me catch you up to speed. Slenderman is described as very tall and thin, with long tentacle-like arms that he can use to imitate or capture prey. He dons a suit and famously has a white, featureless face. He has the ability to teleport, and proximity to him often triggers slender sickness, a quote, rapid onset of paranoia, nightmares, and delusions accompanied by nosebleeds. His intentions? No one really knows, but he tends to target children and often resides in forests or abandoned areas. So my initial thought is that Slenderman preys on children and, like, the weak and vulnerable, right? So I figured, like, what's the opposite of that? And so I decided to make him a teacher, so that instead of, like, preying on children, he's, like, educating them and, like, working with them, you know? Now, making Slenderman scary was a bit of a harder job than the other ones, because his featureless face is what makes him most scary, but at the same time, it's one of his most distinct features. So, I decided to make a compromise by giving him glasses, and I thought this would kind of work out better because it gives the illusion of him having eyes when he doesn't actually have any features, and I thought that would be a little less scary. And with him being a teacher, I figured I could translate that slender sickness into kind of that anxiety that you have when you're handing in, like, a paper to your teacher, or when your teacher asks you to go up for a presentation or asks for a homework assignment. You know, I thought that would be just kind of a funny take on it. In terms of clothes, I did change his outfit up a little bit. Instead of making it just stark blacks and whites, I incorporated a bit more cool colors in there, like some blues and some orange popping off on the glasses and the shoes. I also changed his suit into a sweater vest because, one, I figured that would be a little more nerdy and teachery, and it also just looks more cozy and less imposing than a fancy tux, you know? And he wouldn't need to wear that, you know, he's a school teacher. Another detail I'm really proud of, which is probably my favorite part of the drawing, other than the glasses, is the little forest design that I gave on the sweater vest. I just thought that would be a cute little Easter egg, you know? I was also kind of inspired by Onward for this one, since the dad doesn't have a face either, and if you look closely, I gave him the ugly purple socks that the dad has. If you haven't seen Onward, by the way, it's a really, really good movie. I totally recommend it. I also thought that, and this is just a little headcanon of mine, I also maybe thought he would pull a Miss Frizzle and he would kind of change his sweater vest depending on what they were learning that day, because he always seems to be well dressed for the occasion, so I feel like he would do that. I'm not even sure what grade he teaches or what subjects he specializes in, but in my little headcanon, he teaches sort of grade 3, grade 2, that sort of age, because personally for me, those are some of my favorite school memories, and I find that with earlier grades, you're kind of just having fun with your schoolwork, and you're kind of just learning and going on field trips and things like that, and it doesn't have the pressures of, let's say, high school or something. Thinking about it, and I'm getting so nostalgic of like old school memories. Like, I'm so disappointed that my high school doesn't do field trips as much because they're so fun. I remember going to the creek sometimes, or going to the museum or the science center. I remember specifically in grade 3 also, we had this program. I think it was like a butterfly breeding program at our school, because we had milkweed in the back garden, and monarchs tend to lay their eggs in milkweed. So if my teacher could find any, she would, bring them into the classroom, and each kind of table group would get to raise their own butterfly, and we would always release them at the end, and it was just magical. So yeah, as you can see, I've drawn him writing his name on the little blackboard. Maybe it's the first day of school. And so that concludes Slenderman. Now, Smile Dog is a classic example of the chainmail creepypasta, basically where a scary image and a story are shared and posted around the internet, and you'll sometimes get it in your inbox or something, and it's like, ooh, repost this image or you'll die, or something like that. Now, the legend of Smile Dog goes that viewing this image incites insanity, and no copy of the exact image exists on the web. The true image of Smile JPEG is recognized due to the effect it has on the viewer, that is, they wind up dead. Attaching the file, that is, spreading the word, is the only way to save oneself from the Smile Dog that appears in one's dreams, demanding to spread the word. Some say that the original legend began with an image of the devil. So as soon as I thought of this creepypasta, I knew immediately where I wanted to go with this. So I watch a lot of The Dodo on Instagram and YouTube, and if you don't know what that is, it's essentially, I think, it's kind of like a publication or like a social media type campaign where essentially they talk about animal issues and animal rights, and a lot of the time they'll post these videos about dogs who have been rehabilitated from really bad situations. And this was the direction I wanted to go for Smile Dog. So essentially what I wanted to do with Smile Dog and this kind of viral photo phenomenon is that he would be from an animal shelter, right? And instead of this cursed image going viral, it would be the adoption photo that the animal shelter took for him going viral. Now, making him cute was easy. All I had to do was draw a husky. But the hard part was incorporating the smile in there. Now, initially I wanted to do the same thing that some people do with their characters, where kind of like an Alice Angel type deal, where like part of her mouth is exposed. But then I realized since dogs' mouths already go all the way back, then the scar wouldn't really make sense. So instead of having the teeth exposed, I just did a scar in the shape of a smile, kind of going across his cheeks so that it kind of looks like a smile in a way. I was also very inspired by the Pixar short Kit Bull, and it's a really cute short. I love the animation style. But essentially it's about this dog, and he's part of like a fighting dog, a dog fighting ring, I think, and essentially this kitten helps him escape, and it's very cute. I'm not going to spoil it too much, but I kind of wanted to go that same direction for Smile Dog, or Smiley as I've decided to name him, and that's how he got the scar. He was part of a dog fighting ring, and he was rescued, and now he's at this shelter, and you know, he's up for adoption. And I am aware that the backstory is more sad than cute, but you know, he gets adopted in the end. You know, he's in a good home now, he's rehabilitated, you know, he's doing just fine. So this is Smile Dog. And so that concludes our little creepypasta drawing series. I guess now that they're cute, they're not creepypastas anymore. I guess they're just pastas. But either way, thank you very much for watching the video. If you like the designs, maybe comment below or leave a thumbs up. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Sweet dreams.